Today is Mastermind call number 130. Today is June 15th, 2017. You have Tim Yandel. I'm the CEO of All the Leads, and I'm sitting in for Jim today and monitoring the conference call queue and handling all that. Joining me is Chad Corbett, and Chad is the guy with all the answers about all the wonderful things that we're doing here, and he'll certainly take your questions and help you with that. Jim is not here today, and the reason he's not, unfortunately, Jim had a death in the family. His dad passed away, and today is the funeral for his dad, and so he asked us to, instead of doing anything else, to please take care of this for him, and we are doing that. So that's why Jim is not with us today, and you're stuck with Chad and I. We don't currently have anybody in the queue. It is *6 and 1, and that will get you into the queue, and we'll be happy to answer your questions and take each caller as they come. I see someone has just jumped in there. I'm going to open with just a couple of quick things that I have, and then I'm going to let Chad do the same thing, and then we'll go to our first caller who's in the queue. So we are constantly striving to do a better and better and better job of everything that we do, and I want to kind of bring you up to date on a couple of things that we have implemented and are in the process of implementing to kind of let you know what we're all about. We are adding a bunch of steps into our process for the lead gathering to give you better quality information every month. One of the challenges that we have, well, with several challenges with leads. We can only pull back what goes into the records that are in the courthouses, and that's what we do. But oftentimes, those are entered by human beings. Sometimes they're entered inaccurately. And then the second step in that process is somebody's transcribing that data in some cases. In some cases, it's being pulled off of online reports. A lot of different ways we get our information. And in every case, the data is at least gone through one more set of hands after it got entered. So every time you see a human being involved in that process, you're interjecting an opportunity for error. So we're doing several things. We are adding a bunch of different steps to our process. We already do a bunch of these, but we're now adding some significant validation to all of that. First off, we're validating all of the addresses of the personal representatives so that we know that they're valid addresses. We're actually validating all the addresses, not just the PR, but the last known address if that's in there, and even the address of the attorney should you choose to do mailings to them. And we're validating them as deliverable addresses against the Postal Service data. Sometimes, unfortunately, the Postal Service kicks out, if you run it against their system, they'll kick out an address that's a bit too long. They want to limit it to a certain number of digits in the field, and they like you to make it shorter, and they do that themselves. They'll still deliver the ones that are too long as they're not misspelled and undeliverable, but they're trying to train you to do them the right way. So those won't kick out. But the ones that are undeliverable, which are spelled wrong or got a bad number or whatever, it'll automatically kick that out. When that happens, we will flag them as bad. We're also going to manually inspect them. And if they're bad and we can correct them because it's obvious to us what's correctable, we'll do that. If there's not much we can do about it because the court record was wrong, all we can do is report that information, and it's why we get phone numbers so that you can contact them. Second step in that process really has more to do with phone numbers. So one of the things that we're going to do is kind of add some additional steps in that process. We're now going out to multiple different services to accomplish a number of things. One of them, and probably a very important one, is we're going to make sure that it's a valid phone number in that it will, in fact, ring. Oftentimes, databases will return phone numbers that are disconnected, and they still associate with a person or an address, and they don't ring and can't connect. So we don't want you to waste your time waiting on an unringable phone line. That won't happen. We're also going to come back and tell you whether that phone number is a wireless phone number or a landline phone number. So we'll tell you if, number one, it will ring to somebody who can pick it up, and if they're going to pick it up, is it going to be a landline or a cell phone? We're also going to run all of our phone numbers against the National Do Not Call list. We'll still give them to you. Even if they're on that, you can make your decisions as to what you choose to do about that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and what the ramifications are of it and what you may want to do and not do on a different call. I'm just going to kind of tell you the things we're doing. The other thing that we're doing is we're going to come back and run that against the any state do not call list, as well as the Direct Marketing Association, which also maintains a do not call list. So we're going to try to make sure that you're going to eliminate the people who simply just don't want you to contact them, and those are the people that you'll send mail to, and we're going to do a much better job of screening them out so that you don't send out undeliverable mail. Now, we've been pre-screening the mail anytime we do it from a Mailbox Motivator standpoint, and we don't send out an email that can't get delivered from Mailbox Motivator, but now we're adding that as a process, as part of the process for all of the mail that goes out, or all of the leads that go out. And we're doing several other things that are in that, but those are kind of the highlights of that. And I thought you might find that interesting, just as part of the fact that we're doing a real good job in terms of quality control, and we continue to try to do a better job of that, and it will be fully automated. And so that's just information for you to be aware of. And with that, Chad, do you have anything to add before we jump into the queue? And I'll also see if, I don't think Tom is on the call today, but Tom, if you're there, you can certainly speak up also.
Nope, I've got nothing this week. Let's roll to the callers.
All right, very good. Tom, are you here? I don't think you are either. I think Tom had something also as well. Our first caller in the queue is ending in 4289. And I have clicked to unmute that person. Go ahead, 4289. Well, that's not working very well. Maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I had you on mute.
I feel better now.
So, actually, my name is Angela Gonzalez-Scribner, and I'm brand new to Mastermind. I am doing calls on behalf of my broker and listening to the conversations and learning about the probate section of the real estate industry. So honestly, I just got on today just to listen to what you guys go about. So I'm here just to be ears for today, and next time I'll have questions. How's that?
That just sounds awesome, and more importantly, the next time you're back, you're going to tell us some good results from folks that you've talked to, and give us some good info back. We like feedback, not just questions. Certainly, we're here to answer them, but if you've got good feedback, we want to hear that as well. So certainly, let us know good things. Too often, people get on, and they get on these calls, they ask a few questions, and we know they're doing well because they continue to get leads every month and do well. We appreciate when you come back and give us success stories. We love to hear them.
I promise I will.
All right. That's great.
Thank you.
Super. All right. Our next caller is ending in 4924. Nahid?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Okay. How did you get my name?
It comes up on caller ID.
I see. Okay. Well, hi. It's the first time that I'm in one of these webinars, and I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
So I have a couple of questions. Let's say if I choose Seminole County or Orange County, and there is so many leads, like whatever, would I be exclusive to getting those leads, or do you share it with? Am I sharing it with other agents?
So here's the answer to your question. You can in fact purchase exclusivity. If you choose to do that and you don't want any competition, we will exclude others from buying the leads. We generally don't do that, and typically most people don't purchase exclusivity. They work hard and do their thing, and it kind of works out well. We typically try and make sure that we certainly don't oversell a county. We're not out trying to maximize every dollar that we can get, and we want our people to be successful. So in most cases, and this is on average, we're selling 3 or less people in a given county. There are some marketplaces that are, super large markets like Los Angeles and places like that where people are only working the leads they want to work, so they're more than that in some of those counties. Very seldom do we ever have more than 4 or 5 to begin with, but most of the time it's 3 or less, and in many of our counties it's 1 or 2. So, that's kind of the answer to your question. We don't publish the number of subscribers that we have. That's kind of our business, but I can tell you that we're quite honest about what we do, and generally speaking, you got a great chance to succeed.
I see. My second question, because this system is up against the system that's going to give me internet leads, the homevalue.com type leads. So I'm comparing the two. Your company sounds very good, very honest, the way it comes across, the voices come across to me as honest people. However, are you going to teach me the whole system of what to do with these leads, as far as the first step, the second, the letters? Do you have the whole
let me ask you. Sure. Let me ask you a question. Are you already a subscriber, or are you trying to decide to become one?
No, I'm not a subscriber for you or this other company that gives me internet leads. But I'm comparing the two systems as a whole. Should I go probate leads, or should I go internet? What's my home value worth leads?
Well, I'm going to let Chad answer that as well. But I will tell you that we first off, we don't ever talk. We don't say bad things about our competition at all. But I can tell you what we do, and Chad can certainly tell you what we offer in terms of training. He's in charge of that, and we spoon feed this to you. We'll teach you everything you need to know about marketing to probate. Chad, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are two. The options you're weighing are two very different things. Internet leads are the cash conversion cycle, meaning from the time you actually buy an internet lead until when you close it, for like a house value lead, and backed by research and studies, it's typically 6 to 9 months, and a lot of them push even into 12 months. With probate, your cash conversion cycle is usually inside of 90 days for at least some of your deals, but over time you'll start to there's a bit of a cumulative effect. So it's a much different type of business. It does have a faster cash conversion cycle because you have a more motivated seller. So we're targeting people who are in a stressful situation, who really need professional help, and they typically need to sell the asset in order to free up, and they need to sell the real estate to free up that, the asset to pay the liabilities. So that said, we decided from the very beginning that we didn't want to be just a lead company and just sell a commodity and engage in a downward price race if we ever have competition. So the whole concept of our company is, yes, we provide leads, but we try to wrap it in a full, proven, repeatable system that anyone can do. And we have, unfortunately, probably 90% of our value lies behind a password. So when you first log in, you'll see probate fast track training, and that's a training. It's, I think, only 38 minutes in total, and we literally walk you through step by step what to do and what things to do in what order to get started. We automate as much as possible. So we provide a system, and we also provide automation help for you. So you can literally have your direct mail done for you without ever even logging back in. Your leads come, your mail goes, you get a letter in the mail, you make phone calls. We also offer advanced training. We offer these calls every Monday. The first Wednesday of every month, we do a probate role play call. And we work one-on-one. The four of us who own the company, we're literally on the phones with our customers every day working one-on-one. So we really pride ourselves in concierge-level support and education. We don't require contracts, which holds us accountable to always be providing more value to you guys. So if we're doing what we need to be doing, then you guys will be our customers and you'll be successful. So it's just it's two very different things. I would say the conversion rates are probably the same. Like when I worked internet leads, like house values and Facebook and different things, I had about a 50 to 1 or 2% conversion rate. With probate, I was pretty consistently at 6%. But it's, most people around the country are going to be 2 to 3% on either one. The big difference is the cash conversion cycle and a level of competition. Like typically, in most markets, you're going to be the only agent working probate.
Yeah, but 1,000 other agents working expired.
Yep, for sure.
And plus, as you said, Nahid, the best thing about us is we sound like really nice people. We work really hard to sound nice. Chad sounds extremely nice, so how could you possibly have a question?
No,
all kidding aside. all kidding aside, we work really, really hard to make sure that you will absolutely you'll never find a company that is in the business that we're in that is as engaged with their customers as we are. Most people that do what we do, they sell leads. That's what they do, and they focus their energies on selling and marketing their product, and they're a volume business. They push them out the door. Our intent and practice is to teach you how to lead with value and to build a successful business. We like to keep our customers a really long time and make sure that they're being successful, and we work really hard to make you succeed. So you can certainly count on us helping you do the very best job you can do.
Right. Well, I want to say I'm highly successful in closing listing appointments, and for some reason I am very successful. I just need to find a source of good leads and a system. I'm very systematic. I like that, to continue with it all the time. And I know that conversion rates are very low. I've been working expired and withdrawn market, and a lot of agents are doing that nowadays.
Well, I think the good news about it is that if you're looking for a system and something that you can simply not set and forget, and we don't ever tell people that. We tell them to, if they want to do this and they want to put their mailings on autopilot, that's great. You need to be involved in the program, and we give you a great set of tools to manage that process. But we really engage directly with you, and there's not a better teacher or trainer in the universe than Chad in terms of training people about the best practices in terms of how to deal with people in probate, and we've been doing this a long time. We truly do think we're the very best at it. So we'll help you be successful, okay?
Well, is there any way of do you have the staff to make phone calls for agents to make the calls?
We are just beginning a process with a group of ISAs that are actually starting that process, and we will, in fact, at some point be directly offering that. I'm not going to commit to a date and time, but it is something that we're working on now. You're certainly not the first person that's asked that, so definitely it's something you can look forward to in the future with us.
Coming up in the future, okay. So at the beginning, do I have any way of, do you have any discounts or any for people that are new starting your system?
We're not. It doesn't change whether you're starting with us or not. We're not a discount program. This is a process that's expensive for us to do, and we think our prices are fair. And our job is to help you be successful. So my suggestion to you is you join us. We'll do what we can to help you, and if you've got questions, we're the right place to help you.
Thank you very much.
All right, you bet. We're going to go, you bet. We'll take the next one, and that would be ending in 8215. Go ahead, 8215.
Hi there. My name is Nancy, and just wanted to do a shout-out. I did my first calling today on my first campaign, and I had great success, and I used the verbiage when I left messages. I used what Chad had said to say about sending the letter. Every single person that I left a message for called me back. And I was only able to make 30 calls yesterday. And of the 30, it looks like I'm going to have 2 listings. So I thought that was a really good for my first day, so shout out. But I did have, and of those people, I only had one person that was quite upset and, hung up on me, but I'll just contact her in a month. And then I had one guy that he was listed as not the personal representative, but one of the other contacts. He didn't know any of the deceased people. So then I ended up contacting the attorney, who turned out to be really nice and frazzled and was so appreciative that somebody was calling to help her. Turns out it must have been a mistake of some kind, but he appreciated that I did the follow-up to get him in touch with the attorney just to make sure that, because the person had passed away a couple of years ago, and I said, well, maybe you were left something and you didn't know it. So that was kind of interesting. But anyway, overall, very good day.
That's an awesome report. Is this your first month? You're just getting started?
First month. I did the mailbox motivator. The letters went out, I think, on Friday. I got mine today. So some people said they got the letter, some didn't. But it didn't really matter because I had I had, of the two listings, probably 30, 45-minute conversation with the personal representative. One guy was out of state, and he was so appreciative that I called and that I sounded like someone that could really help him because he was in a faraway place for the property here. So, no, I just wanted to say it was because I was nervous to pick up the phone, but it was a very pleasant experience.
That's awesome. So, everybody on the call, listen closely. Like, so many people are terrified to take the first step, so they don't. And they end up failing at this before they even give themselves a chance to get started. So kudos to you for jumping on the phone and getting 2 listings off 30 phone calls. That's incredible.
And,
so you're doing something right.
Yeah, and the other thing is, because I was thinking, okay, I know how many calls I need to make, and I'm an independent broker, so I'm probably going to have to either hire somebody to help me go through all the calls, or, you know what I'm saying? Because when you actually get the person on the phone, the phone call takes, if they have real estate or just if they want to talk, right? It just takes a little bit longer than your normal, cold calling or whatnot. But no, it was a very good experience. And even the lady that was upset, it was her mother, and she just passed away about a month ago, so you could understand why she was upset. So I'm just going to send her a little thank you card for, spending 2 seconds with me and kind of getting across the value. And I also really focused on that value proposition, and that really was an icebreaker. So those are my tips for everybody today.
So I commend you for not taking it personally and understanding her position. People are going to blast you. You're going to, because they don't know you. They're in a really stressful situation. And so many agents take that personally, and they're like, I just can't do this. I can't have people thinking that about me. And it's like, and the reality is, she just needed to vent, and you were there, right?
Yeah,
So I think your attitude could not be better, and it's no surprise what your results are because of that. So how many leads do you have total per month? Like, how many were on your list?
Because I was overzealous, so I did 2 areas. So I have over 500 to get through.
Nice.
So if I'm only doing 30, and I'm pretty good. And I picked the times, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't start calling till yesterday. And then this morning I had a training class, so I couldn't get on. So this afternoon I'm just going to call. And I'm doing a test to see how many I can actually, because the first few calls you kind of stumble through, like, oh, okay. But and then after the 5th call, I was just on a roll. And but I was shocked. I've been doing this a long time, doing other kinds of marketing. I was shocked at the number of people that called me back. I couldn't believe it. And so I want to thank you for your message that you gave everyone about I basically said that I was calling to follow up, that they got the letter and that they understood why I sent the letter. And that's exactly what I said. And I'm saying every single person I left a message for called me back.
That's incredible. So
yeah.
just to do some fun math, if you continue at 6% conversion and you get through your whole 500, how many listings will you have?
A lot. Yay.
You're gonna have 30 listings this month, so find time to make those calls.
Well, and I won't. Yeah, I'm gonna. I have my first appointment on Saturday, and I'll give everybody a follow up of how that went. But it's a very how should I say, worthwhile property, if you know what I mean. And the probate, the person actually passed away 2 or 3 years ago. And the son was just hanging on to it, thinking it was something he was going to keep and all of that. And because I called him, he was like, well, I think it's time for me to sell. And then we just went down that path, and he was very anxious to meet with me. And I asked him, I said, so if how soon are you looking to sell? And he said, as soon as I get a check in my hand. And I said, well, I can make that happen.
That's what we do here. So something you said, we oftentimes hear from people will get their first list and they'll try to analyze it and figure out the patterns and try to tell the story, I think, so they don't have to make phone calls. And something you said is, the person passed away 2 or 3 years ago, And you're going to look at that list and be like, oh, this isn't fresh debt. You know, a lot of people's reaction is, why would I call if they died 3 years ago? A lot of people wouldn't have made that phone call. So for those of you who are getting on the phone or just getting started, when you look at a list of data, you can't tell. You need to pick up the phone and talk to these people and see how you can help them. And that is such a perfect example of one that, had you had that mindset of, well, I've got 500 calls to make, I'm not going to call anyone that didn't pass away this year, you would have stepped right over that opportunity. So for anyone that's listening that's scrubbing your list, pay attention. Like, there's story after story after story like this where people just picked up the phone and said, here's what I can do, I can help you, I just wanted to introduce myself, and boom, you land a listing just like that.
Yeah, and the other thing is I didn't really, I'm not much of a data person. I'm more of a just let's get to it. So I did, download it, and I tried to look when I first got the list, and I was like, and I kind of quickly scrubbed it for the people that I didn't want to, like if there was a bank, I didn't have a letter sent to it, but everybody else I did. And then I just got on the CRM and just started going through from start to finish. You know what I mean? I just
Good for you.
So, but anyway. So I wanted to, for the people that were new, like the lady that just called, I've done other lists and everything, and I think your training is awesome. And that's my story. So.
Well, awesome. Keep up the good work. You're doing great. So, and thanks for sharing that with everybody.
Yeah, you definitely made our day. That's great. We just love to hear it when people are doing well. And
yeah,
go ahead.
The guy that was on the list that he said he had no idea who that was. Does that just happen from like maybe the error, like you were saying, like a people error? He was the right person. That was his phone number, but he had no idea who any of the other parties were.
Well, sometimes it's because of there's common names in the same city. So if there's a John Smith, and he lives in Houston, and we find another John Smith in Houston, it's not a perfect science. We do our best to find the right John Smith, but sometimes you.
No, it was a good conversation. I mean, and again, it's just another opportunity if you're going to be in the industry to just kind of get your name out there about what it is that you do and how you help people.
Such a good point. No matter who you have on the phone, let them know what you do, right? We're running a beta test in a super competitive market right now. And a guy called, and it was basically a wrong number, and he took a $400,000 listing because he's like, well, here's why I was calling. I'm sorry you're not the right person. He was like, well, let's talk about that. I need to list my house, and he landed a $400,000 listing almost on accident, just because he decided to go ahead and have a conversation with the guy. So.
Right. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to hearing about your good results coming down the stream here. All right, we're going to take our next caller in the queue. And by the way, if you got another question, we've still got time for a few more. *6 and 1, and we'll be happy to take your questions whenever you're ready to ask them. We're happy to answer them. 3689, go ahead, please.
Hi, my name's Leroy. I'm in Arizona, and I offered to make a comment for the lady who was skeptical about buying leads from her experience, and she couldn't be any more skeptical than I have been after 4 years in the industry and 30 years before that as an investigator. But I couldn't agree with the last caller more. Not only do the people at All the Leads sound friendly, they are helpful. They don't promise what they can't deliver, and they don't try to make this sound like a get-rich-quick idea. We should all know where the buck stops. It's up to us, but they certainly are providing good tools, and I plan on getting a lot of advantage from it. So I just want to let other people know that's the way it is, and I couldn't agree more about the friendliness and the helpfulness and how exceptional your approach is compared to most outfits that just want to get people signed up by the thousands to send them $20 or $30 or $50 a month.
Well, thank you for that, Leroy. I'm going to put us both on the spot here. So Leroy just finished Probate Mastery yesterday, and for those of you on the call, what's really interesting, we found out that 60% of our customer base raised their hand and said, we really want to take Probate Mastery, but there's some reason they haven't. And having just finished it, if you could kind of share with everybody, like, what was your impression? Did it help you? Did it accelerate? Because you're just getting started in a brand new market, right?
Right. Yeah, I moved here from another state, so I'm starting from ground zero and don't have the large center of influence most people do. So this gives me an opportunity to start doing what I need, what I know has to be done, that is making those calls every day and make it happen. You've given me more actual where the rubber meets the road details on how to deal with people, what to say, what to offer, what to find, etc. In just a few weeks that I've been talking to people at all the leads than I ever got from a real estate broker that I paid money to or anybody that I bought leads from. There's just no comparison. So I'm going to do whatever I can to help you succeed. I have a lot of years being self-employed, so I know what you're dealing with, and I know what all of the subscribers are dealing with. It's not easy to manage yourself, but it is worth. It makes it a lot easier when you have a track to run on, and that's what you guys are providing. So, as I mentioned in my email, I can nitpick anything, so I might do some of the things different than you do, but I honestly cannot say that. I can imagine anybody making a better effort at it and providing more good information. I paid $250 for the mastery thing before I really got started because I was out of the country for a few weeks and couldn't really get started. But $250 in the world of real estate, you stub your toe on that every week. There's somebody that wants 250 here, 250 there. The associations, the MLS, the licensing authority, that's chicken feed, and it's worth way more than that.
Well, maybe I'll raise the price now that you said that.
Yeah, I'm always afraid of that happening when I tell somebody that.
No, that's not. We're not in it for that. Like, thank you so much for sharing. And guys, Tim and I, there's no better currency in business than this for me. Like, to hear that you guys the system is working for you and you're getting this much value. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Actually, I have a comment for Nancy, and that's a wonderful story she gave, a wonderful shout out, and she has to be prepared for the fact that she might make 100 calls in another few days and not get one listing, but the law of large numbers will take care of her as long as she makes those calls every day. She knows that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say one other thing about that, and this was just an observation I had when I was listening to Nancy talk. You're correct. You know, you can certainly, she had phenomenal success early on, and that's great. And she may, not have the same success going forward. But I'll tell you, she's got one thing going for her, and it's something that we all can learn from. I don't know about you, but if that's the voice I heard on the other end of the phone, the pleasantness in her voice and the positive attitude that she's projecting has so much to do with all of that. And the same from Leroy. You're very positive about what you're saying. And, man, I'm telling you, dialing for dollars, attitude is everything in that business. If you get somebody on the phone and you're banging on them and, you're just there trying to beat them up and get information out of them, you're not going anywhere. And if you're approaching it as Chad trains to lead with value and add value wherever you can, you're not going to find a bunch of irate people. And if you do get one, you're going to be able to turn them around, even though it's very seldom that ever happens because we really don't see that very often. Even if you do get that, it's a great opportunity to make them better, make their lives better, make them feel better, even if they're having trouble. And her attitude is great, and so is yours. So this just couldn't be better. Thank you so much for getting on and sharing. That's awesome.
You bet.
All right, Leroy, I'm going to put you back on mute, and we'll take the next caller ending in 4128. 4128, go ahead. Donna? Donna, are you there? All right, well, we'll come back to that one. Let's try ending in 5813. I'm hoping this is not idiot operator, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. see two more people in the queue here. Whoop, well, then they both went blanked out. Let's try again. Okay, 4128. Let's try that again. Not having any luck here. Try one more.
Yeah, hi, this is Todd calling from Orlando.
Hey there, gotcha. Go ahead.
Hey, this is just a friendly request to the woman who had called in being from Orlando. I just started in Seminole County, so if she's interested in orange, that would be fantastic.
Okay, great. That's great. Well played.
Yeah, I just started the process myself, so I'll call back in with my experiences. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. That was good. That was good. I'm going to try again to see if I can get the caller from 4128 on.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Go ahead.
A couple questions here. Sounds like some excited people here. Sounds like the program's working really well. I've got a few questions I was wondering you can help me with. The first thing is the CRM. Do you recommend a system, or do you have a system incorporated with the service, or do you use your own CRM? How does that all work?
We do.
So are you? Yeah, go ahead, bud.
It's really hard to fit this data into other CRMs, and we kept, it was just a struggle with anything. So we actually built a very basic CRM that's built specifically for this type of prospecting. So your leads are delivered directly into a CRM each month, and you can use that to, you can rate them, you manage your mailing campaigns, you can mark them do not call, do not mail, and it's constantly evolving. Anytime we see a really good idea or someone makes a good suggestion, we add that in, but it's built specifically for handling this probate prospecting. And what most people are doing is, once they have a home listed, if they're in Infusionsoft or Top Producer, they will then enter the listing into their blanket CRM.
Okay, got it. Okay, that sounds good. And then one of the things, obviously, it's value-added service that we're trying to provide here with the LEAD program. One of the things is I haven't signed up yet. I'm really on the fence here, leaning towards signing up, but once I do, will you provide what's necessary to be able to interview vendors? Because you need the portfolio of services, the estate liquidation companies, the clean-out companies, all that kind of stuff. Do you have tips on how to interview these people, or do you just kind of roll with your gut and interview the people and, ask yourself, are these folks that you would want to do business with, or do you help guide your clients who buy the leads to how to go about putting a team of people together to deliver all the services?
So in the training, I tried to keep it as concise as possible in the fast track training, which is what you'll see when you first sign up. We don't go through exactly how to find every single person. That's something that I do in Probate Mastery, which is kind of our advanced training that is voluntary. We spend at least a half an hour just talking about that. However, it's throughout a lot of our content. There's a lot of overlap. So we archive each of these calls. This is number 130. So you've got 129 other calls that you can listen to where we walk people through how to find specifics. I do a video series called Tips from the Trainer. Like, for example, there was one a couple of weeks ago, 3 ways to find cash buyers today. And it's about 12 minutes of just me telling you how I built a list of over 100 cash buyers in a brand new market where I'd never done business. So there's a lot of different forms of content we do. We do blogs, we do videos, we have these phone calls, and then we have our formal training products. But there's really nothing I try to offer that in a lot of different places because different people consume different material. But yes, any help that you would need, and if you're not finding what you need, we'll work one-on-one with you to go through that stuff. Almost every day I'm on the phone helping somebody over a hurdle, and honestly, the team is one of those things that kind of overwhelms people. They're like, oh my gosh, I got to build a team before I can get started. And the reality is I always challenge people when they're overwhelmed. If you had $1 million listing on your desk, you would have every one of those team members before sunset, right? Like you would go find those people in your community. So I try to encourage people, don't make it bigger than it is. You're never going to use all those team members on every single deal. You can even get started and find those people one by one as you need them. So there's the answer to your question is yes, we provide everything we can to get you set up. And if you ever find a spot where you feel like there's not enough content or you're not finding it, you can fire an email to support, or you can call the number at the top of the page, and we'll work one-on-one with you to get you what you need.
Okay, great. And, when I made the call initially, and I think I talked to Jim and was discussing the number of leads from my county here in Florida, he was throwing out numbers like 300, 400 leads. It just seems like an unbelievable high number of leads to be able to handle. Do you find that, let me ask a question, what are the number of leads that are manageable for someone that's just starting out in this? Or
that question really depends on the tenacity of the agent and how much other business they have. We have agents that do all their own phone calls and make over 500. They have over 500 a month, and they're working that. We have other people who don't ever pick up the phone. So it really just depends on your efficiency and prospecting. How I recommend call blocks on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8 to 10 and 4 to 6, and then pick up a Saturday every once in a while. So you get quite a bit of prospecting hours in a week if you hit those blocks, and you're about 160 times more likely, or 160% more likely to convert business during those hours. So if you're disciplined and you sit down and make those calls and you're efficient during those times, you can probably handle that business if you don't have a ton of other business coming at you. If you've got 20 deals in escrow.
We put right into your CRM. Your CRM has a record of each call. You can make notes as you talk to people and all that good stuff. It's right there for you.
Yep. Every call is you mark every phone call. You can put notes. We have a rating system, so you can rate them as, follow up, doesn't own real estate, not selling right now. There's different ratings for each scenario that we know of. And then, if they say don't ever mail me again, simply click a button, opt out of mail, and then you save money. You never send that person a letter again. So we try to make it as simple as possible. And anytime we see a chance to improve, just like what Tim started the call with, honestly, guys, a handful of people had concerns about DNC, and we made major changes within our back end to meet the needs of those people. So each time we see those things, and we actually appreciate when people raise their hand and say, hey, you could do this better, because we typically do it better on that suggestion. So the CRM we've made it as efficient as possible for this specific type of prospecting. Okay,
great. That sounds good.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to add is that, when you have a county and you've got a lot of folks in there, part of our process and part of what we teach is send out your mail, follow up the mail with a phone call, and the mail is what helps you pre-screen that. You're going to get potentially the low-hanging fruit. Certainly you're not going to get a massive response to direct mail. That's not the way direct mail works, but the percentage of response that you get, the times that your phone rings, that gets you your inbound side of this, and you start following up with the outbound to the ones that don't respond back, and that's the way you handle any county, whether it's large or small. But our recommendation is just get it in there, get your mail set up to go, work your leads, and then the next time you do the mailing, you'll have less because you've already contacted a bunch of those people and you've either marked them off your list as don't mail these people again, so the next time you mail to the same set of people, you've got a smaller universe to mail to, and we usually recommend three touches to the mail list and call them all. So you've got 90 days to get through processing all of those leads each time, and each month you get a new set. And as you start being successful and do this, you may decide you want to employ somebody else to help you make those phone calls if you can't handle them yourself.
Yeah, I'm kind of a control freak. Would probably want to make all the calls myself for sure. So one of my things that I just heard, so let's say I signed up for 300 leads a month, and so this week or this month I have 300. Next month I'll have 600. Next month I'll have 900. So I got 900 pieces of mail going out on the third month.
Yeah, you'd have less than 9 if you're working them, because you'll have flagged the first set. You'll have flagged out to not to remail them, not remail to all of them. So you'll be cutting that number down each time you do it.
Okay, and just ballpark, no feet to the fire. What's the cost per mailing per lead?
It's not a feet to the fire. It's $1.50 a letter out the door. It's a personal letter from you, your content. We'll put your signature on it if that's what you want. We have recommended mailings that we do. It goes out with a U.S. Postal Service first class stamp on it. It's hand addressed from a hand addressed font. You will not be able to discern that somebody didn't sit there and write it. We typically send them out in what are called greeting size card envelopes. Our open rates are high. We do a really good job with that, and we couldn't find the mailing company that did what we wanted to do, and we started. So like everything else, we sort of built our own, and that business has exploded for us because we're doing a really good job with it. So it's $1.50 a letter. It's super high quality, and we'll do it for you.
Okay, and if I wanted to do it myself, then I would have access to the templates and all that good stuff, and I could just simply print them out, lick the stamps and envelopes, and do it on my own?
You can indeed do that, and we allow you to do it. And by the same token, if you do that, you download them yourself and do it. You can do it through mail merge if you want to go to the trouble of doing that. You can. You got a lot of business there. If you want to hire somebody to do it, you might want to do it. But I can probably suggest to you that I'd at least suggest you try using our service. You'll find it's very good, and our open rates are really great. You'll make more money doing it our way. But any way you want to do it's fine, and you can certainly download it, and you can still flag them out, and the next time you do it, download the same list, and you have a smaller list to do it the next month.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so if I sign up today, then I get a batch of leads. I get access to everything on the website. I get the fast-track training, videos. I get one-on-one every day if I need it.
Only to Chad. Chad, if you call Chad every day, yeah, and make sure you call him about 6 o'clock in the morning. That's what he likes.
Wake him up.
Yeah, good luck with that, pal.
I'll probably be on a mountaintop.
There you go.
Looks really enticing. Thanks for your help.
All right, man. We appreciate you calling, and we'll look forward to having you join us and being successful. We have one more person in the queue. And that is ending in 0266. Go ahead.
Hi there. This is Ray in Panama City Beach, Florida.
Hey there, Ray.
Hiya. I have a suggestion for the fellow who was asking about how to go about building a team. There's a real easy way to do that, and that is you attend, in our case, the monthly realty board's social gathering. We have it every month, and you network with all the other realtors out there. Now, don't show your hand of why you want that information. You can just say, look, I'm looking for and fill in the blank. Who have you used? And realtors like to tell you all the good things that they're doing. And you can get a great source of information by networking with your fellow realtors in your own association area. You can build that team very quickly that way. The only place you really have to be careful, I've found, is the estate and financial planners.
And what have you found it difficult? You mean to find one?
Well, you've got to be very careful. So I picked the top top financial planner in our market. She does a lot of advertising on the radio. Everybody knows who she is. So I went to her and I just laid it out. Here's what we're doing. We've got some people here in our community that need this help, and I want you to join the team as being our key financial advisor for these people. When the need arises, we'll send them to you. So after she said, let me check you out, and I gave her the information I had, and I said, call these people, find out about me. So she called back in about a week and said, I'm in. I said, okay, I got a homework assignment for you. What's that? And I said, you have to work very closely with financial advisors on probate sometimes, don't you? Yes, I do. Pick the one you like the best and call them for me and tell them that you've joined the team and that you suggested that he do the same thing and to expect a call from me. So I've got her selling the financial advisor and greasing the skids for my call all at the same time.
That's brilliant. That's a great idea.
She thought it was kind of funny.
Anyway,
Anyway,
that's a great idea, man.
That's my suggestion.
Well, that's a great way. That's a great way to end us up today. It's always great to end on a high. We appreciate it. That's a super idea. Thank you so much.
Sure enough.
Guys, we're knocking on the door of being here for 2 hours, and I'm looking at the panel and seeing a lot of you stayed with us. We're always so gratified to have you here. And Chad loves to make the Jim speech at the end, so I'm going to give it to Chad to close up with. Thank you very much for being here, Chad.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for all the sharing today. Like, I couldn't be happier about the call. And the words of the infamous Jim Sullivan, take one thing you heard here today, one thing that inspired you, go out, put that into action, and come back next week and share your success story. Thanks a lot, and make it a great day. Nailed it.
Goodbye.